Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Garage Review, the first one of 2020. And I have to say, I've seen this garage a couple times already, and we are going to start 2020 very, very strong. It's quite insane actually, this garage, because I talked to the owner of this garage, here and there a little bit on Discord, and I know he has some high profile cars, but I never knew to what extent until looking at this garage. It's pretty insane. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to review this guy's garage. His name is Brench. And he is RQ150. He has almost 20,000 trophies, and as you can see here, he has about 188 grand with almost 1,800 gold. A lot of 8s going around. He's a relatively new Top Drives player. When I mean relatively new, I mean less than 500 days. I asked him before I started recording, and he said around 460. So to be fair, he is a pretty new player, I guess, because a lot of the players I know have been lasting for a really long time. And players like me, I've already lasted for twice the amount, as I'm already at plus 800 days. But with that said, let's get into this garage. So as per usual, I have my notes all here. I will send them to the viewer. I don't think you can see them because of how the lighting goes. But let's see if we can hit a play on this, and here we go. So, in terms of comments, let's see what he has. We start off very strong, a very wide collection of cars. In fact, not a lot of garages where I see this many RQ3s, so that's already pretty interesting in itself. The first set of notes I have is to max out that 1500 or 1500 Biposto. It's a great drag car, and I think it has replaced the GMC Caballero for the best drag RQ3, RQ Saber. Also get another RQ3 Pontiac Trans Am. You want to utilize its low RQ and amazing statistic combination before it gets an upgrade, because I do feel in the next update the Trans Am will probably go back up to 4 where it was before, and it might not be a huge change, but a +1 in RQ might change a lot of decks. You never know. So let's move on. Oh, one car I do recommend, since it looks like you are quite the collector. This is a very big garage, I have to say, of RQ3s. One car I would look out for, and this is one I've never recommended before, is the Alfa Romeo Sprint GTV. At RQ3, the stock stats are a top speed of 113, which is high for an RQ3. 0 to 60 of 11.3, which is the second lowest 0 to 60 for an RQ3 car, only behind the Trans Am. It has a handling of 69, which is decent for RQ3 once again, and has an MRA of 56.19, which is 20 MRA higher than the Trans Am. So if I were you, I would look into that. I might even look into that in my own personal garage. Other things I would say about this garage for the commons, let's just rewind by a little bit to the RQ6 category. I would max out these two cars right here, the Ford Escort RS 1600, 1600, almost at 16,000, and also the Dictator Mercedes, which is the Mercedes-Benz 600. The Benz obviously 996, and the Escort 969. Escort is just an amazing car. It used to be uncommon, used to be RQ7, very low 0 to 60 combined with medium ground clearance. So let's move on to the uncommons. The first thing I want to say, and it's a trend that we'll see a lot in this garage, is that this is a very French heavy garage. Now, in garage review, I don't want to be biased, besides the whole, Blossom score. but I don't want to be biased. This is a very French heavy garage. I'm not going to deduct points for that, because French cars, there are some very useful French cars out there. So we start off with 6 Twizzys. I know Twizzys is a car that a lot of people would hoard, but I see a lot of garages that kind of get to 3 and then they stop. But 6, very refreshing to see. And this was when it hit me, when I was like, this garage has a decent amount of French cars, because I see like 2 Twingos, one's the GT, and then I see the Megane and the Peugeot 3008, and I'm just like, why do you have that there? But it kind of answered my question. One other comment, by the way, I did not mention, is the Alfa Romeo 2600 SZ. I recommend this comment in literally every garage. It's such an underrated car. It's the best comment on the test bowl. So when it comes to uncommons, I would say I could look into the Maserati Mexico, because it has the highest top speed of every uncommon. You max it out 996. I do have one, and it hits, I think, 171 top speed, maybe even higher, which is really insane. But I I do have to admit, I don't use the Mexico very often. It's just one very outstanding statistic, which really blows me away. Other cars I would really focus on, one uncommon I use a lot actually is this Chevrolet S10 Blazer Extreme. High ground clearance, 82 handling, 0 to 60 of under 7 seconds as well. It's a decent, really decent RQ9 car. Especially for like city streets, and it helps in clubs a lot, especially if you play a lot of clubs, which I think you do, and I will justify why I think that later when we get to super rares. Also very nice to see 3 maxed out Volkswagen Up GTIs. I'm pretty sure you probably maxed it out for the recent finals as well, because you know the pre-eliminations as well as the Repa change was very low RQ. 3 Corrados, which is very nice to see, and once again just overall a very solid showing of uncommons. Once again, I have to say this is a very like high-end garage. So one vibe I do get from this garage is I'm getting a lot of Eric vibes. I'm not sure if you guys remember, he had a score of 70 on my YouTuber edition of Garage Review. And what Eric basically did was that he has a lot of cars. He has a massive garage, a lot of options, but he only maxed the cars out when he needs them in events. And I see a lot of that in here, because I see you have a stockpile of just a lot of key cars, and among the rarities as well, but not all of them are maxed out. And I feel that, you know what to do, you know what the key cars are, and you probably will max them out when you need to. So, moving on to the rares, I would finish off that Dodge Ram first generation, just because it's kind of a car that's like maxed out or you don't. It's not like it's a drag car where you can just leave it at 2 stars, because all you want to do is probably like 990 or 330 it. Also very nice to see the MX-5 BBR Turbo. It's one of my favorite rares in the game, although I only have one. And here's the trend I see a lot in your garage. Nice to see the 2 max out Dodge Stealths, but like the Corvette 396 that we see here, and we see that later with the El Camino when we get to super rares, is that you kind of 2-star your cars, which is honestly, from a financial standpoint, in terms of trying to save as much cash as you can in the game, it's really recommended. But I also have OCD, so I would never 2-star a car and just leave it that way. But if you guys don't have OCD, I would recommend using this tactic. I mean, there's no point maxing out the handling, putting in that 6 in the Corvette 396, because to be honest, you're only going to use it for the drag, so the handling isn't going to do anything. So it saves you about a couple thousand cash if that's what you want to do. I see you're hoarding Subaru XTs as well. One of my friends, PG Leo, has told me that this car is indeed not low ground clearance, although it is in the game. So if Hutch do realize that they've made a mistake and the car actually is medium and above, we'll be seeing this car getting an upgrade to at least super rare in the near future. So if I were you and I was watching this video as well, I would probably hoard the XTs just in case they do become super rare one day. So it's nice to see 5 of those. You probably know the same thing as well. Let's look at the rest of the rare. That's all I had to say about the rares. Honestly, you have all the keys. I actually ran through your garage with my garage as well, and I was looking at all the maxed out rares you have, especially at RQ14, and every max rare I had, you had it too. I mean, I have 2 max Chevrolet Malibus, and you don't, but you have the Malibus. They're there, so if you need them, I know you would max them out, which is just great. Amazing key cars in the rares. Very strong showing. So moving on to super rares. So I've been seeing a small trend in your garage where I see a lot of hoarding going on, like multiple of the same car, especially the key cars. And we'll see that especially in the ultra rares with the Porsche 924 and the Colorado ZR2. So if I were you, I would also hoard the Citroen C2 R2. It's a very good French car. And I do see that you have a very strong French garage, so I'm surprised that you only have one C2 R2, because it's a very great car. I'm never going to max mine out anytime soon, but it's a great car to have in anybody's garage. Another one I would really recommend hoarding, which is very useful in fact, is the Cadillac ELR. We will see that in a second here. Why I love the ELR so much and why I think it's a great car is 5.3. That's a very low 0 to 60. Amazing handling 89, especially when you find out that this car also has standard tires and is medium ground clearance. Now, as you guys know, when a car has standard tires, their handling tends to be toned down a bit, and then if they're medium, it tends to be toned down a bit more. And the fact that the ELR has more handling than the Chrysler Crossfire is very impressive, and it's very interesting to see. Actually, I just realized this now, that you have 2 maxed out Chrysler Crossfires, and only one Cadillac ELR. I think that's really interesting. I would probably do it the other way around, but let's move on. Other notes I have in the RQ17 department, one car that I think is very key that I don't see you have. Obviously, I don't see you have the Dodge Daytona. I think the Dodge Daytona is a great car, but it's not like a must-keep or game changer. But what I think is a must-keep RQ17 is indeed a Buick. It's the Buick Regal Turbo. It's medium ground clearance, 89 handling. It's basically an ELR with top speed, with just a relevant top speed. So I think it hits about 150, something like that. I'm actually currently using it in the carbon fiber event that's running right now, and I'm tier 1, first place, running that. Actually, the guy in second place is running that too, so that's very interesting to note. Moving on to the RQ18s, 4 Suzuki Swift Rally specs, very nice to see. If you guys don't know, if you want to make money, and I posted on my Instagram story a while ago, and if you don't follow my Instagram yet, do check it out, link in the description below, @BlossomCharger. I made $1 million cash, Top Drives cash, in 4 days, and everyone's asking me how. Really, the best source of money right now is clubs, and you have to buy the clubs boost. You have to buy the clubs boost. And one thing that always shows up in clubs all the time, and I did a video about this as well, is front wheel drive events. They're always there, and most of the time, I would say 2 out of 3 times they're off-road. So that Suzuki Swift Rally spec is an amazing club car, and that's it really. I don't use it anywhere else. I only have one, but it'd be like that sometimes. One other car I would recommend you maxing out is the Renault Sport Clio Cup car. I had it maxed out when it was an ultra rare at RQ19. Actually, it was a decent car. It held its weight at 97 handling when I 969'd it. I think if you 699 is 98. It's a good solid car, but I only sold it because I knew it was getting the downgrade, and also it was French. So I don't know if I'm going to be maxing the Super Rare version again, because I really hate Super Rares. But if you don't mind maxing out Super Rares Branch, I would definitely recommend that Clio Cup car, because the handling on that thing is just insane. Anyway, moving on to Ultra Rares. First off, 2 Countach LP400s, amazing machines. You have one maxed out. I don't know if I would recommend maxing out a second one. Great for clubs, but that's about it. You have the Tamora as well, which ends up being a better car anyway. 4 maxed out Desirs. This is something I don't see very often. I know a lot of people that hoarded Desirs, but they ultimately fused them into Epics when they went up. But honestly, it's totally justifiable to see 4 or 5 of these maxed out. You could even have 5 and call it a flush, royal flush, poker term. One car I would really advocate towards is the Jaguar F-Type. It's a decent car, amazing MRA on that thing. Might beat the Lamborghini Miura SV on a 1 mile, maybe. I have Miura SV. I could max it out and test it because I do have a maxed out F-Type coupe as well. So we'll have to see. Anyway, one car I really recommend Branch 3 to max out is indeed the Caterham 7360. I'm surprised you actually don't have it maxed out. Amazing car. Honestly, for me, one of the best keepers, one of the best slalom ultra rares in the game. The 7360 969 is better than the Lotus 340R, which is insane because the Lotus 340R has a lot more handling. Lotus 340R is 97 and the Caterham 360 hits 93. However, the Caterham 360 is just so insanely light. It's such an amazing car, the 360. I would recommend maxing it out. It's just a great car. Nice to see you have those TCRs. It's been a car that's been plaguing me for a while. It's a car I really wanted to get. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten it yet. 3 Sport Megane 275 Trophy Rs. Honestly, in my opinion, probably my favorite French car in Top Drives. If I had a second one, I would max it out as well. AMG G63, beautiful car. Honestly, just a great selection. You know, although I bashed a bit on the 340R on the slalom because the 340R beats it. I mean, the what is it, 370? I have this in my notes. What's 360? Even though the 360 beats the 340R on the slalom, I'm pretty sure the 340 beats it everywhere else besides the slalom. You know what? I have both of them maxed out, or I can do a video where I can compare all of them to see which car is ultimately better. But I would max out a second 340R because it is it's an insane car. I would finish off that Infiniti G37 as well. Amazing standard tire car with about 89 MRA. Finally, Viper SRT10. As you guys know, I love my Dodge cars and I know them pretty well. It's just kind of a shame to see that you 969 the RT10, but I mean, we've all been there, we've all made that mistake. What I can tell you is, if you do plan to max out a second Viper RT10, a 699 version is better than the 969 version in literally every track. Because I have 2 of them, one 969, one 699, and I wish I could have 2 699. But the Viper SRT10, you know, it's a great car. I love it. but I've heard negative reviews from other players. But personally, I think it's a great keeper. Great car. Great 90s car. Great style icon. It has a style icon tag too. Not a lot of cars have that. 4 maxed out 924 Carreras. Don't need to say much about that. That's just insane. And the variety in your ultra rare section is just amazing. I think we'll see in a bit 3 Ford Escort rally specs. We have 2 GMC Sierra. We have 2 Colorado ZR2s coming up. In fact, we can see them right here. In terms of your standard tire collection, you have the CTS Coupe. You have the Metropolis. Very, very strong RQ22 showing, and you have a 996 roof BTR as well. Moving on to epics, you have a lot of just trash epics. A lot of fuse material, like that Volkswagen Golf R. But I'm sure you know they're trash, and I'm sure you will fuse them in due time. The next one is the CLA 250 4MATIC. I don't even know why this car exists. But yeah, notes I have in here. Oh, the first one is, I've been talking about key cars in the garage over and over. You have the Mirai and all that. One car you are missing. Oh, that's interesting. You have a stock Alfa Romeo 155 DTCC. One car I need to harp about, that one key car you don't have, which you really, really need, is indeed the Ford SVT Raptor, and I'm sure you know that. This is a pretty interesting quirk, and that's why I'm saying this is a very strong French garage. 3 maxed out DS Numero 9s. Very, very strong car. In fact, better base stats than the Cadillac CT6, which is one of my dream cars. But the CT6 does have MRI, the DS doesn't. But the DS does win in some track sets. I think it's like a 50-50. Moving on. Oh, I missed that. You have 3, bro. You have 3 BTR2s. You need to max a BTR2. 996 it. I'm pretty sure it's the best drag car in the game, better than the compressor even. Moving on, the FQ360 Mitsubishi Lancer Evo is a great car. It's second to 1, or second to 2 if you count the prize car, Evo 8. But it's only second to the Evo 10, which you don't have. And I mean, if you do plan on splurging on Mitsubishi carbon fibers, the FQ360 is a really, really good filler. Filler is not the right name to give it, because it's a great car. It's a great car, and I would max it out if I were you, unless you do plan to get the X soon, and maybe not. But 699 that Evo, it hits about 97 handling. Here, nice to see. Lamborghini collection's amazing. I don't need to say much about that. Yeah, you have the wide body as well. Makes me jealous. And a maxed out CT6. You have my mom's car, and indeed the unicorn car, the RSQ3. Let's round it off now to the legendaries, and let's just have a look. GTS-R, ACR, 12C, M8 GTE, the SCG 918, P1 GTR, Centenario, 2 Veyron Sports, and 1 Chiron. It's insane. One thing I have to say is I'm surprised you didn't max out the Chiron, because it's a Chiron. It's like the best car in the game. But you didn't max out, and 2-star. I guess you're a Lamborghini fan. And props to you. You also maxed out the Roof CTR3 Club Sport over the Chiron, which is very surprising. And you have a stock 911 Turbo S. All right, just flexing us. Centenario is nice, maxed out obviously, but yeah, I'm surprised that you haven't maxed out the Chiron. So here are the notes I have on your legendaries. Just put a fuse, since you have a lot of epic fuses. Just put a fuse into your 935 Moby Dick, and put a fuse or upgrade into your 12C. The only reason why I said that, and that's all of my notes, the only reason why I said that is because, these are cars that a lot of players have, even I have it. And if you put just one upgrade into it, which you obviously, you have enough resources to do that, if you put just one upgrade into it, you'll make your car infinitely better than everyone else's. Or at least, it ties with the other people that think they've made theirs better than everyone else's. Anyway, let's go to the scores. In terms of uniqueness, it's a unique garage. It has a lot of things. 3 DS Numero 9s, 2 Veyrons, a Chiron, 6 Twizzys. It's definitely amazing. But I have seen more unique garages as well, especially when Messi has 7 wide bodies. But I'll give you a 9 for that. Moving on to patriotism. I mean, I know you're British. I'm pretty sure. No, I'm 99% sure you're British. But I do see a lot of French cars. You have a very, very strong French garage. And, patriotism doesn't just mean a lot of American cars. I made it with the intent of it being American cars, but patriotism means anything towards one particular country. I see a lot of French cars. I give it a 10 out of 10. Moving on to character. It's a good garage. It definitely has character to it. But I'm going to give you a 9 because I don't know. I don't know. It has a lot of French influences. It's very nice, but I don't see like you hoarding a lot of cars that maybe you like. I don't know. Like for me, I have like 7 Martinis and 10 Jaguar D-types, and that's just me being stupid. But I don't know. I feel like there is maybe everyone has that one car that's not that good that they like a lot, and I feel like the character is given to someone that actually collects that car. Anyway, that will bring us to a total score of 28. Moving on to scale. Massive garage, man. I mean, I'm not even going to say anything wrong about it. It's a massive garage, a lot of potential. That's a 10. Potential is also a 10. I'm just going to skip to that so we can answer that question there and through. Strength. It's a strong garage, very, very strong garage, and I have to give you a 10. In terms of the lower RQs, you don't have a lot of cars maxed out, and I really, really, really want to deduct you on points because of that, but you have the key cars, and I know you have the resources to max out those lower RQ cars when you need to. So in my book, those cars are basically max, especially since you have the resources. Our other garages that I've reviewed, they have the key cars, but they don't have the resources to max them out immediately, but Brench does. So for that, I'm going to give you a 10. In terms of versatility, my guy, I mean, it's a 10. It would be rude of me to deduct you 1 point to a 9 just because you don't have the SVT Raptor, because besides the Raptor, you have literally everything else. Numero 9s to CT6s to Mirays, to Bugattis, to Viper GTSR slick tires, to the 030, to the BTR. It's a lot, and it's amazing. And finally, in terms of your lethal level, are we really going with the first ever Top Drive Scale perfect score? What do you think? I want to know your ideas in the comments for those of you watching, because I don't know if I'm being too generous, but this is a really insane garage, guys. It's near perfect. I'm giving you a 9. I just can't give out that perfect score yet. It's a very strong garage, but like I said, you know, I just can't. Lethal level is like, you can just go. You can, I don't know. I'm really torn about this. 9.5? Should I give a 9.5? Because at this point, yes, I feel like having a Max Raptor and maybe a Max Chiron would really just solidify 10. And maybe even a Max Legendary Off-Roader like a Lancia Delta, you know? I have to give a 9. I'm sorry. I have to give a 9. It's just, it's almost, the garage is almost perfect, and the score shows that. It's almost perfect. Anyway, that brings us up to a score of 49, and you know, my math is really bad, so I'm gonna think outside the box. Alright, the highest score you can get is 80. You've lost 3 points, so that means you get a 77, right? 77. 80 minus 3. Yeah. You guys know me. Blossom is very, very bad at math. But yeah, Brench, congratulations to you. Especially, it's just insane because this guy has just what? I mean, hats off. Like, he's been playing for half the time I have, and he has almost a near perfect garage. But yeah, 77. That is the score to beat now. Number 1. Honestly, in my opinion, my favorite garage is still Messi's because he has 7 wide bodies now. You know what? In terms of in terms of uniqueness, I'm gonna give you 11. Just because. Just because you have 7 Hellcats. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's another episode of Garage Review. Once again, if you're interested to submit your garage, there'll be a link in the description below. And with that said, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.